swelling and towering swiftly, like a genie loosed from one of Solomon's bottles. The cloud rose on the planet's rim, a rusty and colossal column. It strode above the dead plain, through a sky that was dark as the brine of desert seas that have ebbed down to desert pools. "Looks like a blithering sandstorm," commented Maspic. "It can't very well be anything else," agreed Bellman rather curtly. "Any other kind of storm is unheard of in these regions. It's the sort of hell twister that the Highs call the Zurth. And it's coming our way, too. I move that we start looking for shelter. I've been caught in the Zoof before, and I don't recommend a lungful of that ferruginous dust." "There's a cave in the old riverbank, to the right," said Chivers, the third member of the party, who had been searching the desert with restless, falcon-like eyes. The trio of Earthmen, hard-bitten adventurers, who disdained the services of Martian guides, had started 5 days before from the outpost of Ahum into the uninhabited region called Chaur. Here, in the beds of great rivers that had not flowed for cycles, it was rumored that the pale, platinum-like gold of Mars could be found lying in heaps, like so much salt, if fortune were propitious. Their years of somewhat unwilling exile on the Red Planet would soon be at an end. They had been warned against the Chaur, and had heard some queer tales in Ahum regarding the reasons why former prospectors had not returned. But danger, no matter how dire or exotic, was merely a part of their daily routine. With a fair chance of unlimited gold at the journey's end, they would have gone down through Hinnom. Their food supplies and water barrels were carried on the backs of 3 of those curious mammals called vortlaps, which, with their elongated legs and necks and horny plated bodies, might seemingly have been some fabulous combination of llama and saurian. These animals, though extravagantly ugly, were tame and obedient, and were well adapted to desert travel, being able to go without water for months at a time. For the past 2 days they had followed the mile-wide course of a nameless ancient river, winding among hills that had dwindled to mere hummocks through aeons of exfoliation. They had found nothing but worn boulders, pebbles, and fine, rusty sand. Heretofore the sky had been silent and stirless, and nothing moved on the river bottom. Those stones were bare even of dead lichen. The malignant column of the Zorth, twisting and swelling toward them, was the first sign of animation they had discerned in that lifeless land. Prodding their vortlubs with the iron-pointed goads, which alone could elicit any increase of speed from these sluggish monsters, the Earthmen started off toward the cavern mouth described by Chivers. It was perhaps a third of a mile distant, and was high up in the shelving shore. The Zurth had blotted out the sun ere they reached the bottom of the ancient slope, and they moved through a sinister twilight that was colored like dried blood. The vortlaps, protesting with unearthly bellows, began to climb the beach, which was marked off in a series of more or less regular steps that indicated the slow recession of its Alton waters. The column of sand, rising and whirling formidably, had reached the opposite bank when they came to the cavern. This cavern was in the face of a low cliff of iron-veined rock, The entrance had crumbled down in heaps of ferro-oxide and dark basaltic dust, but large enough to admit, with ease, the Earthmen and their laden beasts of burden. Darkness, heavy as if with a weaving of black webs, clogged the interior. They would form no idea of the cave's dimensions, till Bellman got out an electric torch from his bale of belongings and turned its prying beam into the shadows. The torch served merely to reveal the beginnings of a chamber of indeterminate size that ran backward into night, widening gradually, with a floor that was worn smooth, as if by vanished waters. The opening had grown dark with the onset of the Zuoth. A weird moaning, as of baffled demons, filled the ears of the explorers, and particles of atom-like sand were blown in upon them, stinging their hands and faces like powdered adamant.
"The storm will last for half an hour, at least,"
said Bellman.
"Shall we go on into the cave? Probably we won't find anything of much interest or value, but the exploration will serve to kill the time, and we might happen on a few violet rubies or amber yellow sapphires, such as I sometimes discover in these desert caverns. You two'd better bring along your torches also, and flash them on the walls and the ground as we go."
His companions thought the suggestion worth following. The Vortlaps, wholly insensible to the blowing sand in their scaly mail, were left behind near the entrance. Chivers, Bellman, and Maspic, with their torch beams tearing a clotted gloom that had perhaps never known the intrusion of light in all its former cycles, went on into the widening cave.